Benchmarks. When you compare and order rational numbers, think about benchmarks. What numbers and or fractions do you know? What is the number or fraction close to? Is it close to one whole number or the next? And is it greater or less than a half? How do we determine the value of every step on the number line? Number one, what are the benchmarks? In other words, what separates the given numbers on the number line? Number two, how many steps are between the numbers on the number line? In other words, how many ticks separate the numbers on the number line? Example 1. Write the rational number represented by each letter on the number line as a decimal. We'll look at -5 to -6. We'll count the ticks that separate these two numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So every 10 ticks will be 1. So I'll use 10, divide it by 1. 10 goes into 1 0 times. Add a decimal, add a 0, bring down the 1, bring down the 0. 10 goes into 10 one time, which is 10, and 10 minus 10 is 0. Therefore, 0.1 represents every tick. So count the 0.1s and we'll have B and A. So you have -5.1, -5.2. B would be -5.3, -5.4, -5.5, -5.6. A would be -5.7. For the next number line, again, count the number of ticks that separate each of the whole numbers. You have 4, 3, and 2. So count the ticks from 2 to 3. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So every 5 ticks on this number line will represent 1. So 5 will go into 1, 0 times, add a decimal, add a 0, bring down the 1, bring down the 0. 5 goes into 10 2 times, which is 10, and 10 minus 10 is 0. Therefore, 0.2 will represent a tick. So count the 0.2s from 2 to get the answer of C. So 2.2, 2.4, C would be 2.6, 3, 3.2, 3.4, 3.6, D would be 3.8. Example number 2. Write the rational number represented by each letter on the number line, this time as a fraction. Again, we're going to count the number of ticks between each of the numbers. You have -8, -9, and -10. We'll start at -8 and count the ticks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So again, 5 ticks will separate. Therefore, in a fraction, we'll use this as a denominator of 5. So F would be -8 and 1/5, because it's 1 tick. Start at -9. You have -9 and 1/5, -9 and 2/5. E would be -9 and 3/5. For the next example, again, start by counting the number of ticks between the whole numbers. From 10, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 this time. So our denominator will be 9. And we have 10. We have 10 and 1/9, 10 and 2/9. G would be 10 and 3/9. Keep going. 10 and 4/9, 10 and 5/9, 10 and 6/9, 10 and 7/9. H would be 10 and 8/9. And our last example, example 3, plot each of the following rational numbers on the number line below. For 2 over 5, 2.5 over 5 would be halfway between 0 and 1, so it will be just a little bit less than that. That's where 2/5 will go. For -0.9, it'll be just a little bit to the right of -1 because it's not quite -1. For 1.5, That'll be halfway between 1 and 2. And for negative 9 over 4, negative 8 over 4 would be negative 2. So it'll be just to the left of that because it's not negative 8 over 4, it's negative 9. So it'll be just a little bit to the left of negative 2.